28th October had been a black day for most of the Friends fans, or I would say all of the Friends fans, because this was the day when our favorite Chandler Bing died in the hot tub. But the suspicions around his death and his last few cryptic posts before his death fueled the already ongoing conspiracy theories. And to be honest, those conspiracy theories made sense to some level, right? However, this time the secrets are all out. Now it's time to uncover the truth. Was Matthew Perry's death a tragic accident, or was there something more sinister at play? Who were the culprits behind this pre-planned murder, and why Matthew Perry unknowingly destined for his own death? It also appears that Matthew Perry may have been betrayed by someone close to him, almost like family. Stay tuned until the end of this video to find out who it was. What happened on 28th October? On the morning of 28th October, Perry's assistant, Kenneth Iwamasa, administered a dose of ketamine to the actor at 8:30 a.m. Perry used to take ketamine for his depression. This powerful anesthetic is often used for dissociative effects. By 12:45 p.m., Perry relaxed and watched a movie, and he requested for another injection. According to the plea agreement, Perry allegedly told Iwamasa, "Shoot me up with a big one," as quoted in a report by Fox News. Approximately 40 minutes after the second dose, Perry once again requested a third injection. Iwamasa, complying with the actor's demands, administered the ketamine while Perry was near or in a jacuzzi. And while he was in the jacuzzi after the third shot, Iwamasa left the residence to run the errands, only to return to a horrifying scene, finding Perry face down in the jacuzzi, unresponsive and deceased. How it all started. The more important question is when it started. Matthew Langford Perry was born on August 19, 1969 in Williamstown, Massachusetts. His mom, Suzanne Marie Morrison, was a Canadian journalist and worked as a press secretary for Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. His dad, John Bennett Perry, is an American actor and former model. When Matthew was just a year old, his parents split up, so he mostly grew up with his mom in Ottawa, Ontario, though he also spent some time in Toronto and Montreal. As a kid, Perry started acting out by the time he was 10. He was stealing money, smoking, getting bad grades, and even fought with his classmate Justin Trudeau, who would later become the Canadian Prime Minister. Perry later said he felt like he didn't belong after his mom had more kids with her new husband, Canadian journalist Keith Morrison. He described himself as the kid always looking in from the outside, lost in the clouds on a solo journey to nowhere. At 14, Perry started drinking alcohol, and by 18, he was drinking every day. He was a talented tennis player, even ranking among Canada's top juniors, but his dreams of going pro faded when he moved to Los Angeles at 15 to live with his dad, where the competition was tougher. His focus shifted to acting. He took improvisational comedy classes and got his first small role of Arthur in 2:40 Robert in 1979. Perry made his film debut in 1988 with A Night in the Life of Jimmy Reardon and caught attention with a role on Growing Pains in 1989. After a failed TV pilot, Perry got the chance to audition for 6 of 1, which later became Friends. He landed the role of Chandler Bing at 24, becoming the youngest member of the main cast. Friends became a massive hit, making Perry and his co-stars famous worldwide. By 2002, he was earning $1 million per episode, solidifying his place in TV history. A short-lived stardom. Matthew Perry's life is filled with fascinating moments, both on and off the screen. He once splurged on a $20 million apartment simply because Bruce Wayne lived in a similar one in The Dark Knight. Perry also earned $2 million for starring in Almost Heroes, which was Chris Farley's final film. Farley's death in 1997 hit Perry hard. He wrote that Farley's addiction worsened faster than his own, adding that he had a healthy fear of the word heroin, which Farley did not share. Upon hearing the news, Perry was so devastated that he punched a hole through Jennifer Aniston's dressing room wall. Despite his grief, he had to promote Almost Heroes just 2 weeks later, while being high throughout the interviews, where he had to discuss Farley's death. Perry was paid $1 million for Fools Rush In, which he filmed between seasons 2 and 3 of Friends. Apart from his professional life, his relationship with Julia Roberts began with Perry flirting with her via fax, which later blossomed into a full-fledged relationship. He also went on a memorable date with Cameron Diaz, who, after getting stoned, accidentally punched him in the face. In a random encounter the summer before Friends premiered, he even made out with Gwyneth Paltrow inside a closet in Williamstown, Massachusetts. His personal life was complicated, often marked by a fear of abandonment. This fear led him to end relationships before his partners could leave him. As Friends progressed, Perry grew tired of Chandler Bing's trademark sarcastic cadence. By the second half of the series, he begged the producers to drop it, along with the infamous sweater vest. He confessed that by season 6, he returned to delivering lines more naturally. naturally. Perry also wrote about how viewers could track the timeline of his addiction just by looking at his weight. If he was carrying extra pounds, it was due to alcohol. If he was skinny, it was pills. And if he had a goatee, it meant he was taking a lot of pills. During season 7, Matthew Perry lived in a sober home and was driven to and from the set daily by the center, even on the day he filmed Monica and Chandler's wedding. Between seasons 8 and 9, he went to rehab and the news became public. Season 9 was the only time he was completely sober throughout filming, and it was also the only season for which he received an Emmy nomination. In his memoir, Perry expressed deep gratitude to his co-stars, acknowledging how they supported him during his darkest moments. On one occasion, Matt LeBlanc even nudged him awake after he dozed off before delivering a line. Despite his struggles, Perry never missed his mark while filming. Long-term relationship with drug abuse. Matthew Perry's battle with addiction began after a jet ski accident in 1997, which led to a dependency on Vicodin. That same year, he completed a 28-day rehab program, but his addiction worsened, causing his weight to drop to just 128 pounds, as he was taking up to 55 Vicodin pills a day. In May 2000, at age 30, Perry was hospitalized for alcohol-induced pancreatitis. By February 2001, he had to pause filming Friends and Serving Sarah for 2 months to enter rehab again, this time for his addictions to Vicodin, methadone, amphetamines, and alcohol. Perry later revealed that his substance abuse left him with no memory of 3 years of his work on Friends. In 2018, Perry was hospitalized for 5 months due to a gastrointestinal perforation caused by opioid abuse, during which his colon burst. He was in a coma for 2 weeks and had to use a colostomy bag for 9 months. Doctors gave him just a 2% chance of survival. He was kept alive with the help of a special machine that took over his heart and lung functions. 2 years later, while in rehab in Switzerland, Perry faked pain to get a prescription for 1,800 milligrams of hydrocodone daily, and also received daily ketamine infusions. During surgery, he was given propofol, which caused his heart to stop for 5 minutes. The CPR that saved him left him with 8 broken ribs. Desperate for more drugs, he spent $350,000 on 2 private jet trips between Los Angeles and Switzerland. After Matthew Perry's colon burst in 2018, requiring him to use a colostomy bag, he was prescribed opiates, even though these drugs caused his colon to explode in the first place. Despite living with a sober companion and a nurse, the prescribed drugs no longer gave him the high he craved, so he turned to a drug dealer to buy OxyContin. The street pills cost around $75 each, leading him to spend $3,000 multiple times a week. Perry was eventually sent to rehab while taking 14 milligrams of Ativan and 60 milligrams of OxyContin daily. His tests also revealed fentanyl in his system. One night during his treatment, Perry found himself wandering into a hallway where he inexplicably began slamming his head against the wall repeatedly until blood was everywhere. After several brutal hits, someone stopped him and asked why he was doing it. With his face bloodied and swollen, he simply replied, "Because I couldn't think of anything better." Just before the Friends reunion was filmed, Perry was feeling better and had even quit smoking after a few hypnosis sessions, having previously smoked 60 cigarettes a day. However, disaster struck when he bit into a piece of toast with peanut butter, causing all his top teeth to fall out. He quickly went to the dentist, needing major work done. The dentist had to remove all of his remaining teeth, including the implants nailed into his jaw, and replace them with new ones. In 2022, Perry estimated that he had spent $9 million battling his addiction. This included 14 stomach surgeries, 15 rehab stays, 30 years of therapy, and around 6,000 Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. Before we understand how badly this drug abuse affected Matthew and who killed him, I want you to quickly subscribe to Sinister Syndicate. Hurry up. Done? Now, let's get back to the video. Ketamine addiction started eating him. Matthew Perry's struggle with ketamine began during a therapy session at a clinic where he sought treatment for depression and anxiety. However, this led to an addiction that ultimately contributed to his death. Authorities claim that after the clinic doctors refused to increase his dosage, Perry turned to 2 other doctors who illegally supplied him with ketamine. He also allegedly bought the drug from a dealer known as the Ketamine Queen. Ann Milgram, head of the Drug Enforcement Administration, explained that Perry's addiction started at a clinic where he was receiving intravenous ketamine. Ketamine is a powerful anesthetic and can be dangerous even when not abused. For instance, earlier this year, a 35-year-old woman overdosed on oral ketamine tablets at home and had to be revived at the hospital. The amount she took was equivalent to a dose used for anesthesia. While ketamine can help those with severe depression, the lack of proper regulation poses serious safety risks. The autopsy report for Friends star Matthew Perry revealed that he had a lethal dose of ketamine in his system, equivalent to the amount used for general anesthesia during surgery. Toxicology results indicated that Perry had 3,540 nanograms per milliliter of ketamine in his peripheral blood and 3,271 nanograms per milliliter in his central blood. He also had coronary artery disease and buprenorphine, a medication for opioid addiction, in his system. However, the primary cause of his death was determined to be the acute effects of the anesthetic ketamine. No alcohol was found in his body. Who killed Matthew Perry? Kenneth Iwamasa, 59, worked as a personal assistant for over 25 years, according to his LinkedIn profile. He is accused of obtaining and injecting Matthew Perry with ketamine, as detailed in a legal document. Iwamasa was responsible for managing Perry's medical care, including scheduling appointments and ensuring he took his prescribed medications. However, starting in late September 2023, he began asking Dr. Salvador Plasencia about acquiring ketamine and later coordinated with Eric Fleming, Perry acquaintance, to obtain more of the drug. Perry was present during the initial meeting, though court documents do not reveal how Perry requested the ketamine. Perry's case has led to indictments against several individuals, including doctors and illegal distributors, who allegedly exploited his long-standing struggles with addiction. Prosecutors claim that Iwamasa, along with Fleming, helped Perry acquire ketamine and even injected him with the drug before Perry was found dead in his hot tub on October 28, 2023. They knew what they were doing was risking great danger to Mr. Perry, but they did it anyway, said U.S. Attorney Martin Estrada when announcing the charges. Even before the public announcement, the prosecution was already underway. Both Iwamasa and Fleming have pleaded guilty to conspiracy to distribute ketamine, and San Diego physician Dr. Mark Chavez has agreed to enter a guilty plea. These developments have allowed prosecutors to focus on their two primary targets. The first target is Dr. Salvador Plasencia, a Los Angeles physician who allegedly provided Perry with large amounts of ketamine for $55,000 in cash after Perry's regular doctors refused. Prosecutors claim that Plasencia exploited Perry's desperation, even texting a co-defendant, "I wonder how much this moron will pay." Plasencia pleaded not guilty to 7 counts of ketamine distribution during a federal court appearance. The second target is a drug dealer named Jasveen Sangha, known to customers as the Ketamine Queen. Prosecutors allege that Sangha supplied the lethal doses of ketamine that Iwamasa injected into Perry, using syringes provided by Plasencia. Additionally, Dr. Chavez allegedly assisted Plasencia in obtaining the ketamine, while Fleming helped secure the drug from Sangha for Perry. But who are these doctors and dealers? Dr. Mark Chavez, 54, received his medical degree in 2004 from the David Geffen School of Medicine at UCLA. According to his website, he offers personalized health services aimed at helping clients achieve optimal health and longevity through tailored coaching. Chavez was affiliated with the clinic Dreamscape Ketamine until July 2023, when he had a disagreement with his business partner, who was not a medical doctor. Following the dispute, Chavez took all the prescription drugs, including ketamine, from the clinic. Although he lawfully transferred some of the drugs to another medical facility, he kept others, including ketamine lozenges and at least 12 vials of liquid ketamine. Before Matthew Perry's death, the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, and the Medical Board of California had already begun investigating Chavez. This investigation was prompted by Chavez's false claim that he had transferred all the liquid ketamine to a new medical facility and discarded the lozenges after they supposedly melted in his vehicle. Eric Fleming, 54, was responsible for distributing the ketamine that led to Perry's death. According to his plea agreement, Fleming contacted Perry on October 4th, 2023, offering to sell ketamine, and on October 10th, he specified that he had liquid ketamine available. However, it is unclear whether Perry responded to these messages. On October 10th, Fleming began negotiating a price for the ketamine with Perry's assistant, Kenneth Iwamasa. A few days later, Fleming brought a sample vial to Iwamasa, and on October 14th, he delivered 25 vials of ketamine for $5,500. 2 additional transactions of similar size followed in the subsequent days. Fleming obtained the ketamine from Jasveen Sangha, known as the Ketamine Queen of North Hollywood, who ran a drug-selling operation from her home. Sangha faces 9 drug-related charges, some of which are connected to Perry's death. According to the plea agreement, Iwamasa purchased ketamine from Fleming at least 3 times in October before Perry passed away. After Perry's death, Fleming discussed covering up their drug deals by deleting messages exchanged with Sangha and Iwamasa. In one message to Sangha, Fleming stated that he was 90% sure everyone is protected and claimed, "I never dealt with Perry, only his assistant," so the assistant was the enabler. According to Fleming's plea agreement, he had started contacting Sangha by mid-October to buy vials of ketamine on behalf of Perry. To understand this better, let's one by one summarize the role of these culprits in the so-called accident. Role and allegations against Kenneth Iwamasa. Kenneth Iwamasa, Matthew Perry's personal assistant for over 25 years, allegedly obtained and injected ketamine into Perry, which may have contributed to his death on October 28, 2023. Involvement of Dr. Salvador Plasencia. Dr. Salvador Plasencia, who aimed to be Perry's sole ketamine supplier, allegedly administered large doses of ketamine to Perry and is now facing charges related to ketamine distribution and falsifying documents. Role of Eric Fleming. Eric Fleming facilitated the sale and distribution of ketamine that led to Perry's death, negotiating deals and delivering the drug to Perry's assistant. Involvement of Josephine Sangha, ketamine queen. Josephine Sangha, known for her ketamine distribution operation, supplied the ketamine that led to Perry's death and faces several drug-related charges. Role of Dr. Mark Chavez. Dr. Mark Chavez, a former ketamine clinic affiliate, was under investigation for mishandling ketamine and was involved in supplying the drug that contributed to the events leading to Perry's death. Matthew Perry battled deep childhood trauma and drug addiction, relying on those close to him for support. But instead of helping him, his personal assistant Iwamasa and his doctors exploited him. They ignored the dangers of the ketamine they were supplying him. Now, it's clear. Matthew's death wasn't just an accident, it was a premeditated murder. Despite knowing the risks, they kept increasing his ketamine doses. Do you think if Matthew had received the right care, he could have been saved? Share your thoughts in the comments and make sure to share this video with fellow Chandler fans.